So first, let's bring Sally's Dependable Dog Walking Service. Now, they're a small company. You can take a wild guess what they do. They have 15 employees, so pretty small. And they don't have anyone on staff who can really handle their payroll. So they realize that, well, we've got to pay our employees and we don't have anyone internal to do that. We need an outside party. So Sally decides they're going to outsource their payroll function. They've hired Payroll R Us to help them do that. So the relationship here is that Sally is going to provide payroll information to Payroll R Us, and in turn, Payroll R Us will produce and provide the paychecks for Sally's employees. Now, despite the diminutive size of Sally's Dependable Dog Walking, they actually have an auditor. They have Becker CPA firm. And they've asked them a question because they understand from Becker that because they're outsourcing their payroll function, they're going to need a service auditor report as part of Becker's testing. And they say, well, what kind of report do we need? And they say, well, we think a type 1 report will be sufficient because we need to at least understand how Payroll R Us does their activities. Otherwise, we can't complete the audit, but we don't think a type 2 report is truly necessary here. So Payroll R Us also needs an auditor, and they're fairly new to this business too. They haven't been in operation that long, and this is the first time they've ever needed to get a service audit report. But they consider Sally to be a really critical customer, so they say, absolutely, whatever you need, we're going to go get it for you. And so they ask the auditors, and Payroll R Us's auditor says, well, we can do either one. We can do a type 1 report, or we can do a type 2, based on their preference. And Sally's company decides, you know what, we'd love to get a type 2. And payroll says, we're happy to give you a type 2, so that's ultimately the determination. They're going to do the more advanced procedure. So Payroll R Us is going to provide that report, which is type 2. Now again, the difference between the two, a type 2 goes one step further. It not only provides information about the design and the operation of internal control, it also tests the operating effectiveness and basically gives an opinion as to whether those controls are effective. Now, once Payroll R Us has this report, they can provide it to any company that needs it, but obviously the one we're concerned with here is Sally, so they turn that Type 2 report over to Sally's Dependable Dog Walking Service. In turn, Sally will now provide that Type 2 report to Becker CPA. Becker CPA is excited. They were only expecting to get a Type 1 report. Since they received a Type 2, that's going to allow them to reduce the scope of some of their testing, which is fantastic. Once they complete that and all the other testing that's required, ultimately, they will provide the audit report back to Sally's Dependable Dog Walking Service.